Well, you're watching Morning Live on SABC2. Good morning to you. Now, last Friday, bus drivers embarked on a national wage strike, leaving commuters stranded. But bus drivers union SATAU are demanding 18%, while employers are only offering 6.5%. The drivers are demanding a minimum wage of 6,000 rand, a 1,000 rand housing allowance, as well as better medical aid contributions. Among those who are taking part in the strike are Patco, Golden Arrow Bus Service, and Gautrain. Joining us now from the Cape Town studio is Labour analyst Loane Sharpe. Loane, good morning to you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having me, Vuyo.
Now, do you know how the 18% that the bus drivers are demanding came about? How did they arrive at that number?
Well, I think with most of these numbers, they don't really have a foundation in reality. It's really just the start of what workers think their bargaining position should be. And the more outrageous their starting point, it is hoped the more favorable the eventual wage increase will be. But it's not going to end up anywhere near that. Probably the wage increase that workers will get will be between 8.5% and 9%.
Yeah. So for the employers, where did the 6% come from?
The 6% is probably looking at their budgets and thinking what sort of return on investment they would like to make, but also knowing full well that it wouldn't be the final figure. But we are noticing that more and more disparities exist in wage negotiations. The starting points are so far apart. This is why it's taking such a long time for strikes to be resolved. In some cases, strikes are suspended, and then the strike starts again after a couple of months because there are these incredible disparities between employers and employees.
With relationships that are long-running for many years, day-to-day relationships between worker and employer, why is it that there is an inability ultimately to find some kind of working mechanism so that commuters are not affected in this way, so that these kinds of matters can be dealt with in a more amicable kind of fashion?
You know, it's a very strange thing. I personally don't understand it. The extra half a point or a percentage point that workers get as a result of a 3 or 4 week strike, it takes them up to 3 years to earn back the money that they lost while not working on strike. So there's an element of irrationality in this. I think most workers would probably be happy to reach an agreement with management quite early. But there is also this problem of violence and intimidation, particularly now where unions' value to their members is being questioned. So we've got a situation where unions are under pressure to be seen to be delivering value to their members. Strike violence and intimidation is on the increase, but I think overwhelmingly most workers would actually be happy to reach an agreement with management quite early. I think these strikes don't represent the views of the majority of workers.
Yeah. Could employers also be more compassionate looking at this situation?
Yeah, I think certainly they could. For employers is that they need to link wage increases to productivity increases. And unions in South Africa, to a great extent, have refused to link wages to productivity for many, many reasons. But I think ultimately that's what is needed. I think management would be prepared to offer 10 or 12% if they could link wage increases to productivity.
So where to from here? Commuters listening to our conversation, what do you think they must prepare themselves for? 3, 4 weeks of inconsistent bus services, or even no bus services until this matter is resolved? Is that what they should plan for?
Yeah, I think it's going to be longer than 3 or 4 weeks if you look at the disparity between trade unions and management's positions. I think it could very easily be 2 to 3 months. But I'm not too worried about the transport sector this year. I think most of the strikes we're going to observe are going to be in the public sector. We saw in the budget earlier this year that the Minister of Finance has put his foot down on the government payroll. with increases planned in the payroll of less than 3%.
Yeah.
Now, it will be very interesting to see whether public sector workers agree to that sort of increase. I think we can expect major chaos in the public sector at local, provincial and national government level.
Yeah. What can be done to circumvent this? Is there no way out of this?
Look, the World Economic Forum ranks South Africa as the very worst country out of 144 countries in the world in terms of labor-employer conflict. So South Africa really is the worst performing country in our peer group in this respect. I think we've got to go back to the labor laws and regulations that create this huge amount of tension between management and unions. Without addressing the labor laws that create this tension, I don't think we will ever resolve it.
Yeah. All right. Loane, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks for you.
Thank you very much. Let's take Loane off the screen there and see if he goes.